afternoon on this fine Friday. I just got off of work a little while ago and came straight out to the I want to call it the DMV like they do everywhere except in Arizona. They call it the MVD. But I just recently got my Arizona driver's license and registered all my vehicles here and everything. But when I received my license in the mail, they had not put the M motorcycle endorsement on. So I had to get that straightened out, which they took care of lickety-split. And now I've got a little bit of free time. It's like 4:30. I've probably got a few hours before it's dark. And I'm gonna go take the new whip out on some pavement, and hopefully we'll hit some mild dirt roads. I'm not looking for anything too gnarly, but I've got some idea of where I'd like to explore. I think it's mostly north and a little bit maybe like northeast of Mount Wrightson here in Arizona. So without further ado, I'm gonna get my helmet on and get recording, and I'll chat with you guys here in a minute. So that's a pretty view of those mountains. That mountain kind of over to the right that we're looking at is Mount Wrightson. That's one of the taller mountains in the area. Alright, so we're basically heading as though we were going to go to Madeira Canyon, which is a really popular recreation area that includes a lot of the trails that go up Mount Wrightson. But at some point, I think we're going to peel off to the left, or else we go straight and you would go right to get to the canyon or something like that. So I'm just listening to my directions in my ears. I don't have a phone mount yet, so I don't have the visual map to look at. I think this is Box Canyon, so we're gonna go left here. On to the loose stuff. A lot of washboard here, hard to get traction down. These mirrors are pretty awful when you get onto anything rough. They just really start drooping down and they're too weak. Vibey. See what it feels like coming to a aggressive stop off-road here. So I got the off-road ABS kicking on front there. Felt very controlled, felt predictable. I was just going in a straight line, nothing crazy. I do like the brakes on this bike a lot, except for the squeaky front brake. But besides the noise, it performs very well. It's quite the drop off there. Not the kind of terrain you want to make a mistake on. Everybody hear that brake? I'm keeping an eye on my gas gauge. I got 3 bars out of 8. Let me give you 8 bars. Okay, 3 bars of gas. My range is indicated at 99 miles, but I don't really trust that yet. And you know, the route that I've got all the way to home right now is like 60 miles. So I could probably make that on the gas that I have. Not gonna push it, so when I see gas, I will stop and get gas. So I guess we'll talk about the bike off-road a little bit. It handled what I just did pretty well. I'm still getting used to the kind of aggressive and the stiffer suspension on this KTM versus some of the more laid-back bikes that I've owned, like the Royal Enfield Himalayan, the Honda CRF 250 and 300L dual sports. So yeah, I have in the past tended to get bikes that are more laid back and a little bit more, I don't know, just not cruiser style, but not designed for the whole race ethos that KTM has going on. So I'm getting used to the stiffness of the bike. I intend to do something about the discomfort of the seat and the pegs and the handlebars and that three-way geometry relationship. I would like to open things up a little bit, but this is very rewarding when you start pushing your limits a little bit on this bike. It likes that. So that whole stretch that I've been riding, and even still, I've been in off-road mode for the motorcycle mode as well as the ABS. I guess rider mode and ABS has been off-road modes. So those have done pretty well. I left the traction control on. I don't think it interferes too much on what I was doing. Once you get into some really gnarly and steep off-road stuff where it's just a lot steeper, then you'd probably have to turn the traction control off. Otherwise you don't get enough drive going up the hills and you'll just kind of come to a stop. Even with your throttle wide open, it just cuts out on you. So, but most of the stuff I like to ride is a little more tame, not that steep, and leaving the traction control on works for me so far. I walk in like a timepiece. I go straight to VIP. I never pay for my drinks. My entourage behind me. Alright, this is my first opportunity to check my fuel economy based on my mileage calculations and not based on what the computer on the screen is telling me. Alright, we did 152.2 miles on that tank and used 2.517 gallons, which means we're averaging about 60 miles per gallon, and that is just great. So 60 point, I think it was 49 miles per gallon times 3.4 gallon tank. So that gives me a theoretical top range of about 205 miles, which means that I can probably comfortably do like an aggressive 150, 160. Alright guys, well, there's not much of interest for the remainder of this ride home. It's going to be like 2 straight shots on 2 straight roads until I get home, basically. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off with you guys. Plus the sun's going down, so it's going to be right in the camera. But anyway, nothing terribly exciting today, but some fun little off-road sections and getting to know the bike a little bit. Thank you guys for joining me, and I hope everybody has a good evening. Bye.